Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday and welcome to Tasha Journeys Live. I'm your host, Tasha Danielle. So, if y'all see me moving, this light is playing with me. Now, I've had this set up for a few weeks and I'm struggling today. So, if y'all see the light flashing, I'm trying to block it with my head right now. But anyway, welcome to Tasha Journeys Live. If you're new here, welcome. I will be going live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about travel or money or both. Today, I'll probably be talking about both towards the end. But before I get into today's topic, which is all about credit, mastering your credit, best credit cards, to have all that stuff, I want to do a recap of what I have been talking about so far for the last few Sundays. So I'm going to share my screen. I got a lot of stuff to cover, y'all. And my replay game, make sure you're hitting that like button. And currently, make sure you're hitting that like button and ask any questions that you have as I'm going through things. But I got a presentation for y'all because there's so much stuff to share. And this idea came from last week's live. So when you all ask questions, it helps me know what y'all want to learn. So thank you for HND Abroad for asking questions last week. I see you here this week. Hi Tanya. Hey Jackie. All right, tuning in. So let me get to my slide and whatnot because I want to make sure I cover everything today. I typically stay on only for an hour. Um, And if you do not know, I am very structured. Sometimes I'll do when it comes to talking about finances. When I talk about travel, I usually don't have any specific notes, but today I have a lot to share when we're talking about credit. Just usually everybody's favorite thing to talk about. Um, if it's not investing. Give me 1 second, y'all. No, why? Okay, here we go. I got it. No, I don't got it. Anyway, as I'm doing this on struggle mode right now. How was y'all Sundays going? Let me know in the comments. I just had Sunday dinner at my mama's. Shout out to you for making that pot pie. I will be working it off at the gym tomorrow. I got this figured out. I don't know why I'm struggling today. Y'all know it's gonna be good when things don't go right. And I had a whole little setup for y'all too on the replay game. Don't skip yet. Just skip ahead, like don't cut off. I'm saying skip ahead like a couple minutes while I get this together. But y'all know it's gonna be good when it be a little technical difficulties early on and your girl is struggling. So let me see what y'all seeing in the comments about what y'all had going on this Sunday. There we go. The presents. Ooh, don't judge me, y'all. I am really over here struggling today. All right, get on over here. Today's agenda. All right, so today's agenda is going to be recapping the no spin challenge. So how are y'all doing with that as it stands right now? So if you're not familiar, as you are telling me how you're doing with that in the comment section, the no spin challenge is all about not spending money on non-essentials. And I shared 3 apps to get rid of to make sure that you can do this easily. So let me know how you're doing on the no spin challenge right now in the comments. And then, okay, this is better and bigger. Hey Tasha, I see you join. I know my favorite thing is budget and finance. Really, it's travel now that after I gallivanted around the world. But today's agenda is all about no spending challenge recap, 3 financial goals recap. So if you haven't been here the last 2 Sundays, I'm gonna catch y'all up real quick, and then I want to be going into the details of FICO versus the Vantage score, how to boost your score by 40 points by April 1st, which is one of our 3 financial goals. Best credit card for building your credit. Shout out for H&D Abroad for asking this question last week. Best credit card for travel emergencies. So I did go on Instagram and check my DMs looking for your question, and I didn't see it. So I'll go on there again tomorrow because I do have Instagram off. I'm kind of doing a no social media thing. I get on and share and then I hop off. So that's what we're covering today. A lot to cover in the next hour, but we gonna get through it. So, how is the no spin challenge going for y'all? uh, okay. We not talking food on the fast. Okay. We on the fast too. We just started today as well. So I won't be going into details. We start tomorrow, actually. So no spin challenge is all about being focused on your spending. So I was struggling this week because I am doing some remodeling right now, and I'm on to my living room, and I'm like, dude, I need a rug. I'm out of my candles, and I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I was just sharing that with my mom. Like, I'm not going to buy any of that stuff. I'm making a list of all the things I need, and that way I want to be price shopping for those things that I need for my remodel because I got rid of everything, y'all. So it's not like I'm just like got 5 sets of living room item decor set up. That's not my story. So that was a little bit of a struggle because I love candles, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait till February because I do have oil. I do have essential oils in an oil diffuser that I can use. But I be loving my candles, especially right now in the winter. If you don't know, I'm in Metro Detroit. Um, so I'm like, I didn't buy anything. So again, the no spend challenge is about spending on essentials. I'm not telling y'all not to pay y'all bills or buy groceries or anything like that. If you have a set budget and you have personal care in your budget, I'm not saying not to spend on that. I'm saying for those who just go into Target and buy stuff that it wasn't planning on buying stuff on Amazon, that type of stuff. No, none of that for January. And then for last week, we were talking about the 3 financial goals um, for to achieve by April 1st. So I'm gonna recap that really quickly as well. Go over here. So I just did that with the no spend. 3 financial goals: spend less. So I don't have a number participating, but if you don't do any spend, you'll be able to see the impact on in your bank account by February 1st because you're not doing unnecessary spending. I'm challenging you all to save $25, $45, or $85 a week. Now I know those are big gaps, but I brought up the idea of saving $1,000 if you can by April 1st. Only you know that off the top of your head. If you know you are best friends with Amazon Prime and the FedEx drivers that's delivering, I believe that you probably can do that. Now, if you are in complete survival mode and you're like, I'm struggling at the grocery store, then I will just bring it down to can you save $5 a week? But I'm challenging, can you do $1,000, $500 by April 1st? This is for you. It's not like I'm saying to save this up to give to me or anything like that. This is for you to be able to hit more of your goals. And then the last thing is increase your credit score by 40 points by April 1st. I don't have anything on here about budgeting yet because I just want to focus on this month and getting your mental right on shaping your financial habits before I get into the nitty gritty of budgeting and talking about investing. I also want to encourage you. I did briefly mention if you are at a point in your finances because I know everyone is at different levels. Do not contribute to your 401k. Always contribute to your 401k up until the match. So I had to say that. Now I got all that housekeeping out the way. I'm gonna come back and see if there's any specific questions about the no spend challenge or 3 financial goals. H and D and raw. Okay, Jackie, I caught you up. Let me know. I'm gonna go back on that tab. Let me know if you have any questions about that. But that's my challenge for everyone who is joining me live on Sundays to hit these 3 goals, especially the no spend goal. That's going to be the toughest. I will drop the links to my lives from a couple Sundays ago where I shared the 5 apps that is killing your finances that you need to delete. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna say ouch. H and D abroad said they're struggling. I struggled a little bit this week, but are you staying strong and keeping it going with the no spend? What was the hardest part? Was it the apps you deleted? I'm still gonna keep going through. Okay, Tasha. Listen, I'm with you on those survey gift cards because I was doing that in December, and um, the survey gift cards, or if you switch cable or internet, you'll get gift cards like that. I'll save those for essentials, or I'll use it like when I have travel coming up and I don't want to spend my money. I'll use those gift cards and points. So good job. Yes, I know your sister gave you a beautiful chair in which you save money, Tanya, for Christmas. And that's fine, H&D abroad, because I've mentioned that like events come up, right? So as long as you are aware of that, I do have something coming up. Am I going to San Francisco next week? I think it's a week after. But I know I'm definitely not buying anything new from as far as like a tire purchase or anything like that. So it can be hard when you have life events coming up. And in the no spend challenge, I'm not saying don't buy people gifts. I'm saying to think about it reasonably. If you would just go crazy and just buy multiple things, just scale it back a little bit, and consider scaling it back. If you're like, oh no, it's maybe your daughter, you like, I can't scale it back. So I'm just throwing those things out there. But we still got a lot of days go, lots of days to go. It's only January 7th. So we gotta stay strong on here. Um, as far as the no spend challenge, because like I said, I'm like, oh, I wanted to get some more things, stuff as I'm redoing my living room and I'm on hold. And this may be like, well, if you're gonna buy it anyway, what's the point? I am looking to find the lowest prices as I'm in this waiting period. And Tanya just mentioned she was about to buy a chair and then she got a basically brand new chair for her sister. So hey, I may be on those Facebook marketplaces to get they do offer things for free. And I've seen some friends of mine on Facebook get some nice things. So I have been in those groups as well to see if I can get a rug or something, because a friend of mine, she got a beautiful desk chair, some play stuff for her child. So that's another thing too, being more creative about it. Just for the month of January for no spend. All right, let's get to this credit, y'all. What y'all came here for. Um, I want to talk about FICO score versus Vantage score. So I challenge everyone to pull their credit report, go through and what to specifically do to increase your credit score by 40 points last Sunday. I'm going to share that link in the chat in a few moments if you want to know the details of it. But I got the 40 points from the FICO versus Vantage score difference, because the average difference between your Vantage score, which you see on your Credit Karma or some of your banking apps, that is your Vantage score. And it's usually off between 40 and 50 points on average. So if you are seeing that you have 700 on your Vantage score, you probably have more like a 650, and that's going to put you in a different category for getting better interest rates if you're in the market for a car or something like that. So the 40 to 50 points average is where I came up with trying to boost your credit score by 40 points by April 1st. Also, that's usually the sweet spot to get somebody from a fair, good, or excellent, like when they're trying to get between those tiers. Usually that's the sweet spot, 40 to 50 points. So if you have any questions from about the details of that, I will answer them if you weren't on the live last Sunday. And if you're watching on replay, you can leave them in the comments, because I always respond to every comment that I get. So 90% of creditors use your FICO score. And it can be confusing, because if you have credit cards or even some banking debit cards right now are saying, hey, sign up to get your free credit score with us. Those scores is so many different variations and calculations. The only thing that matters is what creditors are pulling. Think if you are trying to refinance your house right now, which I hope not, because rates are high, but in the future, the rates are slated to go down sometime this year because it's an election year. If you are planning to refinance later this year, you want your credit score to go up, right? So this easy challenge of, not easy, but this set goal I established for you, you are going to start the year off right. If you're looking to get a lower interest rate, let's say if you bought a house last year when the rates were really high and they're still high, or the year before that. Let's say you're like, I need to get a new car. this is things you need to be thinking of. Where's your credit score at, to get the best rates when it comes to getting the loans that you need to get your purchases. There are several type of FICO scores as well. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit more information about that too. So if you have questions about FICO or Vantage scores, let me know. Your credit score range for FICO is I don't know, I drew 300 to 850. So let me see which it's about to share on the screen. Right now, I'm gonna stop sharing and bring it back in. And I didn't realize I still had that comment on the screen. So Tasha said she's sharing her comment. Ooh, that's a good tip, Tasha. I hadn't heard of that. So this is why I like this. When you are trying to get your finances together with other like-minded people, Tasha is sharing how she's staying on track, and she's talking about the Google app check. They send you a Google phone and basically spy on your phone, and they get rid of ads that come across your phone. Is what I'm gathering from that message. If I said it wrong, I got it on the screen for y'all to see. But any tips as you're coming into the live and how you're making it through the no spend challenge, make sure you share it in the comment section. But back to the FICO versus Vantage score. So I'm gonna share something to as an example of what exactly I mean when your credit card is telling you your credit score, even if it says it's FICO, how it can be different. So I'm sharing on the screen right now the FICO score from City Cards, because City Cards is known to have a free FICO score provided with their credit cards. So you can see, hopefully it's big enough where you can see it. I'm gonna try to blow it up to zoom in a little bit more in case it was too small. But this is the regular FICO score calculation. Most of it is your payment history and the amount you owe on which makes up your credit score, which is why I was telling you all to pull your credit report, focus on the most 2 years of payment history, and call creditors to remove any late payments if you're back on track making payments. So this is a score range between poor, fair, good, and all that stuff. But what I want to point out is that it says what score model the city use when pulling um, the FICO score. This score varies. They're basing this on the FICO bank card score 8 model. And this goes from 250 to 900. The typical score stops at 850. So this means if you are looking on if you're using like City Card and you're like, oh, I have my FICO score, it can be discovered whatever it is. That FICO score is not the FICO score that creditors are using. If you are confused, drop a question mark in the comment section because I know that can throw people off. I get this like deer in headlights look every time. I do, if you're not aware, I do have rental properties, and when screening tenants, right before I left, I was renting out one of my units, and the person didn't qualify based on credit, and I said, "Hey, you need to get a cosigner." And she was so upset because she's like, well, my FICO score is showing this. She's like, I don't have a Credit Karma score. It's coming from City, or I think it may have been Discover. And she's like, my credit score is showing that I meet the requirements because it's showing that I have like a 650 or something like that. And it's because she was using this model that I'm sharing with you on the screen. It's not the real FICO score. And it can be really confusing. It's a bank card score 8 model and it's going up to 900. So that's again, that 40 to 50 point range disqualified for her to get the apartment from me without having a cosigner. So I'm like, I don't tell you from what I have on mine, what I'm using in my screening tool, this is your score. You need a cosigner. And then I also let her know you need to look at what type of scoring that is using from the credit card. So yeah. Hey everyone who's joining. Hey, hey, hey. So that is one thing with FICO versus Vantage score. So if you are in the market, like I said, for a car or refinancing, and you really want to know your score, I really suggest that you go to myfico.com because this is what lenders are using. And this is what you're going to need to look at to really get a gauge on where you fall in line with getting the best rate. It's not going to be from Credit Karma and it will not be from the banking apps that give you your credit score. And the MyFICO website, I'm going to share that too. Hopefully, it's not too small. Let me know if it's coming up really small as you're viewing it on your screen, or if this is helpful or not. But I'm literally just showing you myfico.com and the price. Now, the FICO score is not free. You can see the different rates from $20 a month to $40 a month. And it offers you different things based on it. Now at the bottom of it, it's saying FICO score for mortgages, for auto loans, or for credit cards because there's different scoring models for each one. So that's what I really want to just drive home, if nothing else, the importance of if you are really looking to improve your credit score for later on in the year, you need to see where your FICO score stands. And then for mortgages, for example, it's saying they use FICO score version 2, 4, and 5. For auto loans, it's using something different. For credit scores, for credit cards, it uses different things. But what I like about myfico.com is that it does break it down. It does break down what type of score lenders are using for various things. So if you are really trying to hit a goal with getting a better credit score this year, you really need to check out myficoscore.com. All right, so I want to move on to best credit cards for building credit. Since there's no questions on the FICO score versus Vantage score part of today, I want to share what I think is the best credit cards to build your credit. So there's two different ways to look at this. Credit cards from a standpoint of you don't have any credit, so you will need to get a secure credit card. I'm going to share my screen and put the ones that I thought were the best on here, and that was coming from Capital One and Discover when it as far as best credit cards to build your credit. Now these are secure credit cards. There's all type of things. There's all type of secure credit cards out there. But what you want to do is you want to look at the ones that have a lower deposit requirement and don't have crazy APRs. So what the secured credit card is, you're basically going to give the credit card company a deposit to be able to spend up a certain amount. So they may say, you have a $200 limit, so you have to give us $200. Just in case, in the event you don't pay, they won't give you the deposit back. They'll use that for your balance. So Capital One Secure Platinum is good because low deposit requirements. You can start with $50 uh, as a deposit with up to $200 limit. With the $50 deposit, the Discover It Secure credit card is $200 minimum deposit, but you do earn rewards if that's something you still want to look at as you're building your credit. This is if you have, 400 credit score, you really are trying to build it back up from the bottom. Getting your secure credit card will be the way to go. Now, if you're like, I have decent credit score, I'm in the 600 range, low 600 range, I recommend that you put Capital One risk-free pre-approval tool into Google, and you'll see a Capital One like official link come up. Make sure it says capitalone.com when it comes up, and you can see what you are pre-approved for without any dings on your credit. And the pre-approval for going through on the on the Capital One site is pretty accurate. So again, I'm recapping and telling you the best credit cards for building your credit from a standpoint of 400 or a 600 credit score and trying to build it. So the Capital One cards, they have a whole fleet of cards, and this is not sponsored by Capital One, but Capital One pre-approval tool is cool because it's not going to be in your credit, and it will tell you the best card that will help you um as where you stand as far as your credit score today. Trying to block that light again. All right. So again, if you have any thoughts or comments about that, let me know. I used to I wasn't. I used to not be a fan of Capital One cards, but they're pretty decent cards, in my opinion. I really at first wasn't a fan of the customer service. They could do a little bit better, but when it comes to building your credit and all of that, these cards are something to consider. Now, as far as if you pull your credit report and your utilization, I don't have this in here, but I wanted to take a minute to talk about um balance transfers. If you have a lot of credit cards and you are not using them anymore, you're like, I want to focus on paying my debt down. Kudos to you. It it could be good for you to consider doing a balance transfer to increase your credit score to an existing card. So let's say for example, you have 3 credit cards and you love using your American Express because you want the points, right? You're Delta loyal, like I used to be. In that card, you have a $10,000 limit and it's sitting at $7,000. And you have 2 other credit cards that you're not really using. And you're like, I'm not going to be spending like this. I realize my spending's out of control. Those 2 other credit cards, I encourage you to call that credit card company or look on the website and see if they have any balance transfer offers for 0%, because you can take 4,000 or I would take 5,000 and transfer that over to another card that you have, because it will lower your utilization on one card and can improve your credit score. Those other credit cards need to be still at, they all need to be at 10,000, because you don't want to have more than $3,000 on a credit card with a $10,000 limit. So if I'm throwing too many numbers out there, let me know and I'll slow it down and back it up. But you want to stay under 30%. Out 20% is where you should really just be. Forget trying to see. I'm right at the 30%. Let's just bring it down to 20%, 25%, or whatever. So again, if you have one credit card that has 7,000 on it and you have 2 other credit cards that have nothing and they all have the same limit, you can transfer that balance over there and that can boost your credit score. Now, this is something to consider if you know this is going to take you several months to pay off. There usually is a 3% fee to transfer the balance, but that could be a lot cheaper than 25% you're paying in interest every month on that balance that you haven't paid now. So that's another way to lower your utilization or your credit cards to boost your credit score. So let me know if that makes sense and if I'm going too fast. Because this stuff is like second nature to me. And I know a lot of times I could just be now I'm gonna get to D H and D's question from last week. And H and D, let me know if this is covering a little bit of what you were talking about from the question on the best travel cards for emergencies. Now, this is a loaded question. Even if you ask me the best travel card, the best credit card for travel, you have no fee credit cards, you have low annual fees and high annual fees. Um, my favorite no annual fee cards for travelers are the Wells Fargo card and the Built card, which I have a video for. I'll link all these videos I'm referring to. I'll link them in the comment section. But for travel emergencies, the best card is actually the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And that card has a huge annual fee, but the annual fee is pretty much covered. So it's based on how you travel and what you're doing, um, as far as your spending. So the Chase Sapphire Preferred card has $95 annual fee. The Chase Sapphire Reserve has $500 annual fee. But the perks on these cards cover the annual fee. And if you are not a big traveler, I don't recommend even looking at the Chase Sapphire Reserve, because it won't make sense. You won't be able to take advantage of all the perks after the first year of credits that are offered. So you can get free DoorDash subscription. I'm not sure what level it is, but basically you don't have to pay the delivery fees anymore. You can get Lyft Pink for free with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. There's stuff with Peloton that you can get for free with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. You can get TSA pre-check credit for on either one of these cards, and the list goes on. And everything I'm naming, this is $100 at least for each of those items that are being covered for free for the first year. So you get all these things for free, but it's covering your annual fee. And the points you get from these cards end up covering free trips. So I shared that I took my mom and I to Hawaii for free off points. One of the cards that I used was this Chase Sapphire Preferred, and that has a $95 annual fee. But all the perks, I didn't pay for that annual fee. I got TSA pre-check for my mom on that card, and I got some other perk I can't remember on top of all the intro points. Now, aside from all the perks that these cards offer, what I really like when we're thinking about being abroad um, for emergencies is the medical expenses that could be covered with the Chase Sapphire Reserve for accidental or emergency services needed. It will actually cover you to be air flown out if you didn't buy any travel insurance. So this is ideal for emergencies. The trip interruption reimbursement that you get, I think you get $100 a day. Baggage loss, baggage delay or loss, you get coverage for that. So for travel emergencies, if I had to pick a credit card, if you are doing, let's say, I would say 3 or more abroad trips, I would think this would be the best case when you're thinking about travel emergencies, because the question last week was for abroad. So I will say that one again. That's if you're looking at the annual fee range. If you don't want anything with the annual fee, I stand by the Bill or the Wells Fargo just because of the coverages that they offer. But those are the cards that I would consider for emergencies. And again, I shared that I did add my mom and my younger brother to my credit cards because if I was in an emergency, it's not like, okay, try to figure out how to get this flight to get over to help me. It's just you're on my credit card, you can get it. But I did have that amount saved up. So I I'm not an advocate for, and I'm not saying you are saying this either, H&D and Broad. I'm not an advocate for using credit cards as your emergency back save up plan. So for me, yeah, I added them on just because I'm like, okay, go ahead and use it if you ever need to get to me. But I would be able to pay that credit card back off in full at the end of the month if they did need to use it to get to me. And I also share that I do not like using my debit card when traveling because I've had my number stolen. I've even had a friend have her credit card number stolen several times. And I would rather it mess up my credit card and get another one as far as my limit versus me having my money messed up. That's not as far as I would, instead of me having to figure out, okay, my cash in my checking account is messed up versus, okay, I got to call, dispute a charge. So I do use my credit cards often for my purchases, but I'm paying them off in full. So it's not like I'm supplementing my income with that. So Tasha, you were saying I'm surprised to hear Capital One. I heard the opposite. As far as like good to boost your credit or as far as customer service. I had an issue with them and took a couple months to resolve. My favorite credit card for customer service is American Express. I don't recommend American Express or Discover for international credit cards because outside of North America, they're not really accepted. I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 spots in Europe when I was traveling. Um, a couple in Japan maybe, but for the most part, they only want Visa or Mastercard. So when you were saying surprised about that, was just the why I don't recommend. I'm not recommending anything besides a Visa or Mastercard provider for international travel, just because they're probably not going to be accepted. Their customer service could step it up. We got for the one in my experience, but just overall, they offer a lot of leeway for people trying to build their credit. I mean, store credit cards have changed over the last few years as far as like the accessibility to get them. They can help build your credit, but you are going to probably be buying things you don't really need to build your credit up. So, like, if it's only a Kohl's card, unless it's a Mastercard or whatever. But for example, my favorite store was New York and Company. Me and my auntie Brenda, that's our store, right? And they shut down. And they available online, but that store credit card, I can only use that at New York and Company. So I'm only using that when I'm buying clothes. So if the store card, like Sam's Club, I think is a MasterCard or Visa, yeah, that's a regular credit card that you can use for other purchases to build up. But I wouldn't recommend someone get a card, a store card, and it requires you to just make clothes purchases for clothes. I will want you to use it for purchases to be able to pay it off in 30 days for things that you need. Yeah, same. I don't use my debit card for purchases, so I definitely agree with you here. I again, I don't want to have any hiccups with my information being stolen, but if I had to pick, it would be my credit card because I do not want my cash money messed up. Anytime you apply for any credit card, it's going to be doing a hard pull, meaning it's going to show an inquiry. I remember at Home Depot, um, they were saying, "Oh, you should apply for a store credit card." She was trying to tell me that it was going to be a soft pull. I'm like, "Girl, it will be an inquiry on my credit report. That's not a soft pull." Like, so certain people at the counter just be saying anything to they be saying anything to get you to apply for a credit card because they get uh I can't think of the word right now. They get something back for me. Y'all know what word I'm trying to say for you applying. So anything that you were applying for a credit card, unless like I recommended the Capital One pre-approval tool where they're not doing a hard pull, it's pre-approval to let you know which Capital One card you will best suit you, whether it's building your credit or for travel. Yeah, kickback. I'm like, I couldn't think of what I was trying to say with that. Um, Okay. If I will say, I didn't have any problems getting them on the phone because someone stole my credit card information, my with my Capital One when I was traveling. But um they didn't want to investigate the dispute. They kept just saying, "Oh, ma'am, it's showing that someone used the card, so it had to be you." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna keep disputing it." It had to keep calling back. I'm like, "What the heck?" So when I have a dispute with American Express, I don't experience that. Like they be like, pretty much, okay, girl, it's back on your card. They've given me pushback a couple times, but for the most part, I didn't have to go through what I went through with Capital One. But it was easy getting them on the phone. Yeah, percentage for each application for when you're in the store. So don't believe them when they say it's gonna be a soft pull. The only um agencies or businesses that are doing soft pulls are your insurance companies when they're just running your credit to see. You won't see an inquiry on there. From my experience, let me not speak for all for all things. So um I don't know if H&D is still on. Let me know if I answered your question when it came as far as the travel emergencies when it comes to best credit card. And I'm just gonna see if I have any more questions. I think I covered everything. Yep, that was my last slide. So I got through everything. So hopefully I wasn't talking too fast or confusing y'all. But thank y'all again for joining. And make sure if you haven't hit the like button that you hit the like button and share this on Facebook. Um, if you found this information helpful. Yes, that's it. These stores, no, they are definitely running your credit, and those inquiries do impact your credit score. So in the month of Q1, January, February, and March, when you're trying to improve your credit score, don't apply for credit cards. When I mentioned improving your credit for utilization purposes for balance transfers, I gave the example for credit cards you already have. You can call them up and see if they have any 0% intro offers. 0% balance transfer offers. And they typically will offer you something. And then you will pay the 3% fee to transfer the balance over. And it helps you in two ways. It brings down your utilization and it helps you with saving money on interest. You're welcome. And I had did a longer for the two videos I had that video was about to be a half hour. I'm like, let me just cut this down. That Chase Sapphire reserve, like I do plan on having that card when I leave back and go abroad. When I was abroad this time around, I didn't have any extra I didn't have any premium cards that offer those benefits because I did have travel medical insurance. So that covered airlift, it covered all the things because it was a little bit different because I was traveling for a year straight. So I wanted to have travel medical insurance to cover me for the entire year. Um, and for it didn't cover routine care for me, but it included like more than the credit card would. So H&D abroad, I would suggest that if you haven't, I'm not sure, look into Safeway, Safety Wing. Safety Wing, I think is what I had for my travel medical insurance for the year. For that. And then also I forgot to mention for Chase Sapphire Preferred and Reserve the auto collision coverage that you have on there. On the reserve card, it acts as your primary auto coverage, which means that when you decline the collision waiver at the counter, um, you do not have to contact your car insurance company for any claims. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, which is a $95 annual fee. If you decline the auto collision coverage and you want it on your Chase Sapphire Preferred card, it will act as a secondary insurance provider. So they offer auto rental, collision, and so much more on those two cards. But the reserve is where I will go. Utilization is how much credit you're using. So if you have a credit card and it's $1,000 limit, if you have $400 on your credit card, you are hurting your credit score. You want to get that balance to $200 because you want it under 30%. So $300 out of $1,000 is 30%. That's a sweet spot. And that's a part of the FICO score makeup. So if you have cards that are halfway maxed out or maxed out, one way you can jump to get that credit score, your overall credit score down, is by lowering that balance. Paying it down would be ideal, but you do not want your credit cards to be over 30%. So I've just used $1,000 limit, $10,000 limit because those are easy numbers to just take from. But if you have a $1,000 card and you have $700 on there, I guarantee you if you get that card to $300 balance or below, you're going to see an increase in your credit score. Anybody else have questions about utilization? I talked a lot about that. So hopefully that makes sense. It's how much of your credit you're utilizing. No more than 30% for your cards. They don't want to see that. Yeah, that's the 30%. Yep. Allianz, I did not get approved for Allianz because I do have a pre-existing medical condition. They wouldn't even cover me for the emergency. Safety Wing was the best option for me. So I applied to a lot of travel insurance companies. I even worked with a travel insurance broker to see if I was doing something wrong. And it was just because of pre-existing medical conditions that I had such a hard time getting coverage for routine. But I drew a blank. Medical coverage outside the US is super cheap. So I had a medical emergency in Thailand. I went to the hospital Had to get ultrasound. I didn't get no blood work. And I had medicine and going to the doctor and being seen for other lab work. I spent $140 total, I believe. I went to the dentist in Thailand for a cleaning and I spent $25. And their equipment is the same as, like, it's as good as the US. It's not like it's shady or anything like that. A lot of people are traveling for medical tourism just because the medical cost in the US is so high. But I still wanted that coverage because I was in Australia, for example, and their health system is not as cheap as Southeast Asia. So I wanted coverage. But Africa and Southeast Asia coverage was, I mean, medical coverage was low, and even parts in Europe. The medical coverage, the whole medical system is different from the US, and it's a lot cheaper. All right, y'all. I don't see too much more on the credit front. So hopefully this was good. Y'all better be doing that no spend all January. Don't leave me by myself out here not spending and staying focused. And those three financial goals, remember those as well too, right? So April 1st, you want to see progress because every year it's gonna be your year and you're gonna do this, and then June get here, and then December get here, and you're like, what did I have on my to-do list? I said I was gonna do better with finances. So I helped y'all in telling y'all what y'all were going to do to be better with y'all finances by setting those three goals for you. So hopefully y'all stick with it. And since I don't see any more questions, I'm gonna hop off of here and enjoy the rest of my Sunday. And I will see y'all next Sunday at 7 p.m. Bye.